Did you know that cocoa plant needs 6 to 8 hours of indirect sunlight? Or did you know that much drought or excessive heat can affect cocoa plant, can affect cocoa fruiting rate, can affect cocoa pods? Did you know that too much coldness can still lead to that? Too much coldness can lead to poor yields in cocoa. Cocoa is a very tricky plant which needs knowledge to grow it. If you are to manage cocoa, make sure you are well informed, because cocoa, it has response to the environment. It needs balanced environment for it to grow well. Plant trees around or within the garden of cocoa. Try to put trees, just provide shades, and the shades should not be too much. Manage those leaves. Manage the tree branches that are providing that shade. It should be in a position to allow light penetrate into the garden. So that's how you will manage cocoa. A lot of things I've mentioned. You can follow this video if you have to get all the content. I have mentioned all the factors that lead to differences in production of leaves, flowers, and fruits of cocoa. So stay tuned and listen to this episode. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in entire parts of the world. GSP African Pearl once again. Today I'm here briefly just to answer the concern or the question of one of our fellow viewer, the follower of GSP African Pearl. This guy has been following me for quite long, and he happened to meet my video of cocoa growing. Indeed, he introduced himself as Elkin Viglant, a cocoa farmer from Dominic, Caribbean state. I think he's in Caribbean. To those who know the Caribbeans, I think our Caribbean state, it covers the parts of South America, I believe. Those are the Caribbean people. This guy was appreciating my effort, and I do also appreciate him. Mr. Elkin Vigrant, I appreciate you for following my videos. You are welcome. But you posed a concern of, because he's a cocoa grower, he posed a concern of his small garden of cocoa not doing well or not doing at the same rate. Because in his garden, some plants are having much fruits, others are having less, but they are of the same age. What he didn't specify for me was the variety. I don't know whether they are all of the same variety, and I believe if they are not, then that might be one of the points as to why there are differences in fruiting of your cocoa. But today, as I'm answering Mr. Elkin Vigrant, I will urge you, all the members of this channel, to keep tuned. From the very beginning of this video till the end, reason you are going to know the reason as to why cocoa has differences in fruiting or has poor production. I've generalized for this because I wanted it to be now a class. If I had to answer only Mr. Elkin Vigilant, I was going to answer through a reply in his comment. But I wanted it to be a class, and as I'm answering him, I'm teaching you. So today I've tried to pin out some key factors that may be leading to this. But I'll first ask Mr. Elkin Vigilant whether he has been so keen with the following managements. One of the issues that I have raised up is, I'll first ask him the soil type of that area, then the variety that is planting, the third one, the disease management, fourth one, weed management in his garden, the fifth one, pruning practices, then another one, I will need to pin the point of spacing. Another one, we shall check on the environmental factors. Then soil nutrient levels. Then after soil nutrient levels, we shall still look at the shading, the shade management. From there, we shall summarize by pest management. All those factors that I've mentioned, if not managed well, can lead to poor production in cocoa growing. So, with the issue of differences, I will have to say that that one may not be caused by all these factors, but some. Like, I'll first tell you that if your garden is having different varieties of cocoa, like you may find someone has mixed forestrio, Corioli, then Trinitorio in the same garden. So don't expect Forestrio to have the same yield or level with the Criollo or Trinitorio, because these are three different types of cocoa, of which it's good to mix. No, because some people have their reasons as to why they mix, but it's better to plant one variety at a time or in a garden. Or maybe if you want to have different, you need to have all the, if you want to have all the varieties separate. Say this row or this portion is for this variety, this portion is for this variety, this portion is for this variety. But a situation where they are all mixed, you will not expect plants of different species to have the same level of bearing fruits. There you get differences. So I don't know whether this is the real case with the Caribbean friend of mine. And if it's not that one, then we shall look at the shade. You know, cocoa is not all that tolerant to drought. So when you're planting cocoa, you are always advised to plant it under light shades. But where some people make mistakes, they go on planting their cocoa under big shades. I'm telling you, if you're that kind of person, you are not going to get good yields, or your cocoa will not be in position to fruit well. When there is too much shade, the fruits will be just, the leaves with those flowers will be just shading off. They will not have that retention or resistance to be hard and fruit for you a pod. So here, when you're managing shades or shading, you need to plant those trees which can allow sunlight to penetrate into the garden, because cocoa works well with light but not too much heat or light. Too much will again stress your cocoa and will not give you the real yields that you are expecting. So when you're doing that, make sure that the trees which are providing shades to your cocoa are well managed, have some spaces where light can penetrate into the garden. Another thing which can, so that's one only, may bring differences in that if in some areas you have not managed well the tree branches or the tree leaves and cover your cocoa completely, in that very area you are not going to yield well. But in some, you find that in some areas you have managed them well, or they have light branches. There you will see that the cocoa in that place will do well, just because of shading. It can change the yields. And also pruning. I don't know whether Mr. Vigilant is managing well the pruning practices, because I believe when you're pruning, it is also another thing which can add you yields or which can reduce your yields. You know, some people don't know how to prune cocoa. When you're pruning cocoa, you need to look for those leaves, those branches which are inferior. You know, you need to look for those branches which are inferior. Look for those ones which are almost wilting. Look for those branches which are dry. You know, because this is a tree, there are those branches which dry and they are no longer useful to the what? To the plant. So when you're pruning, you always consider that. And reduce the leaves. Not all leaves are important on cocoa. It must, I told you, it must be in position to absorb sunlight. But if your garden is just covered, I'm telling you, that can cause stress to cocoa, and it will not do well. It will just be just growing leaves and what? It will not give you fruits. Light must penetrate. And so pruning, in fact, I will talk much about pruning here. When do we prune cocoa? When we are pruning cocoa, we always advise people to prune it during dry season. Why? This will give a plant ample time to recover. You know, when you're pruning, it's like when you're pruning a cocoa plant, it's like a human being who has got an injury or who has a wound. For you, that wound to heal up very fast, it doesn't need water. If you can't you keep dipping yourself in water, know that it will take time to heal up. You need to put it in a conducive environment. You plaster it, you put some jigs and what. So that period, that cocoa will be suffering a wound. So if it's the rainy season, it takes time for that wound to heal up or to cover up. But in dry season, you'll find that saps will come and dry, then it will start healing up slowly without any inconveniences. So that is the right time for pruning cocoa. And now, maybe another point which may lead to differences in fruiting. You find that this plant is fruiting well, the other one is not fruiting well. This might be spacing. Have you maintained the standard spacing? Because if you go in somewhere in the gardens of some other farmers, you find that the spacing is not standard. Like in cocoa, we recommend 10 feet from one plant to another. But you find that some farmers, because they want to have big numbers of cocoa plants, they will go on fixing in other cocoa plants in some other parts. Now you find that there are different spacing. Here, from this plant to this plant, 10 feet. From the other plant, 7. From one plant to another plant, 6. In the same garden, from one plant to another plant, 3. I mean feet. The same garden. So, there is no way a plant which is between 10 to 10, 10 to 10, have the same fruits like the ones which are in space of 3 by 3 or 2 feet. Of course, there will be congestion and they will make just a forest. Yet we need light. This plant to grow is when it is exposed, the light. So there you find that these ones which are in a space of 10 feet have more fruits than those in small space like 3 or 4 by 4, which is not the standard spacing for cocoa. So Mr. Elkin Vigland, you need to look into that. If you are doing all this, or if you have done all this and still your crops are not doing well or have differences, then there must be something wrong. Because even if you, maybe I would first ask you to go and test your soil, your soils. Because here we want to see if the soil nutrients from that, in fact, I would ask you to go and take a sample of soil nutrient from that exact place where a cocoa is giving you less, and the other place where the cocoa plant is giving you more fruits. Go and make samples for that, because we check for nutrient levels. Because you may find that even nutrient levels in soils can lead to differences in yields, differences in fruiting, differences in flowering. Because if you may find that in this exact place, the soil nutrients are less. They are not in a position to support this cocoa plant which is in that place. And you find that in the other place, the soil nutrients are high. They are enough for cocoa to give you what you need, or to boost the cocoa growth and the flowering rate. So look into that, and test if there is nitrogen around that plant which is not giving you well. Check if there is phosphorus in that soil. Then if you see that if you see that the other place has less nutrients than the other one, then you boost that area also, you find that in the next season, you're yielding the same. So that can cause the differences. And also the factor of managing diseases. Do you manage well diseases in your garden? Do you control pests at the same rate? Are you supervising when they are spraying your garden? Have you realized that every plant received the spray? You may find that when someone is spraying the garden, has not sufficiently sprayed all the plants, or missed or left out some other plants with pests, so with diseases. So that plant which was not sprayed will be affected by diseases, will be attacked by pests, and it will not give you the real yields like these ones which are already controlled. Are you getting me? Hope you're enjoying this video. And if you want to get much of this video, you need to watch from the beginning up to the end. Then I have uploaded several videos about cocoa growing. If you want to learn how to grow cocoa, I have that video in my previous videos. I have series of videos talking about cocoa, harvesting, proper harvesting, post-harvest handling. I have that video. Just visit GSP African Pearl there. I have those videos. I have videos, those videos, in fact, I was interviewing a farmer from the garden, which may be which may not be like now. Today I'm just seated. Today I'm just seated here. Just because I'm answering that question of Mr. Elklin Vigland from Caribbean state. We talked about disease management. Are you managing well diseases? We talked about the variety. Which variety are you planting? Because for me, here in Africa, or even in South America, countries of Brazil, countries like Colombia, the same varieties that we are planting here in Africa, they are the same varieties that they are using. So you can't deceive me that those varieties are not doing well. Yes, you talked about importing the variety, but which variety do you import? I think you need to put that in my comment, and I see if it is a right variety. Because you're telling me that your garden contains imported varieties and the local varieties. What are those local varieties, and what is the imported variety that you're talking about? It might not be doing well with the environment. Maybe you got it from a different region and which cannot match with yours, so that's why it's not doing well. And I want to know, among the two, local and this imported one, which one is not doing well? Have you taken time to identify, is it a local plant or the imported that you imported from somewhere? If you see that the one you imported from somewhere is the one that is not doing it, it might not be responding with the environment of that place. So you need to leave it and continue with the local variety, which can do well.